Best of r/entitled parents episode 89. Subscribe for Reddit videos daily. I'm a fairly happy kid, but whenever this happens it kills my mood. I've always felt like posting here, but considering the last few posts I put on a different sub and the reaction to them, I've always felt like people would make me feel like the arsehole, but this incident is the last straw, to be honest. My dad, if I had to put his parenting in words, it would be bullshit. All he does is lock himself in his room doing work. He does spend 60% doing crap and 30% listens to church sermons and the rest work on his laptop, and comes downstairs to act like a hypocrite, calling me and my sister lazy for being on our phones when we're both constantly helping our grandma who's staying with for I don't know how long, and we use our phones to chill since she watch TV. Today Ed told us to help him out with carrying tiles inside. They are pretty small and light, but put together they are as heavy as fuck. I got my coat and shoes to go outside and help him, but my sis was ahead of me with 2 and he told sis she can go. I thought he was referring to both of us because he wasn't specific on who he was talking to. I went upstairs to piss and was gonna come back down and ask if he said I can go as well when he shouted my name while I was pissing. Ed, Nova. Me. Yes. Ed, Nuova. Me. Dad, I'm in the toilet. Ed, Nova, where are you? Me. Shouting so he can hear I am in the toilet. Ed, he is now pissed off, come down now. Me. Finished peeing, I took off my jacket. Thank you. Next. Okay, this basically just happened and I'm still laughing my ass off. I'm a long time lurker. First time poster. Anyways, into the story. For background, I work at a usually pretty quiet Subway. We have a few customers, but we've never had a full house. Then one day, the entitled mum saunters in. She seemed nice at first, but when she found out she actually had to pay for the sandwiches she bought, things went downhill. Entitled mum, could I please get these for free? It's my daughter's birthday. Me, well, number. We don't give free sandwiches for birthdays at Subway. Entitled mum, can I at least get a discount on them? Me, no, we don't do discounts for birthdays either. Entitled mum, come on, please, I don't have enough money for both. Me, both of the sandwiches are $10. How much do you have on you? Entitled mum, I only have $6. Me, in that case, you can get the 6-inch if you give me $4, or you can get the 12-inch if you give me $6. Entitled mum, but I want both. Me, well, you don't have enough money for both. She then proceeded to run out of the store with both sandwiches in hand. Luckily, there was a super convenient cop on patrol, and he managed to stop her. The policeman gave the sandwiches back. Since I didn't want to waste the ingredients, I ate them on my lunch break. After the policeman gave the sandwiches back and went back to his car, I saw the woman roll away in the back of the police car and in handcuffs with the most defeated look on her face I had ever seen. Thank you. Next. First time poster. I'm American, so berate me if I fuck up the spelling and grammar. T equals teacher, ep equals if y'all don't know, I'm gonna cry, ec equals worthless piece of shit. Background. So my teacher teaches a couple classes, astronomy and earth and space. I'm in astronomy and this is my teacher's story. This kid is in earth and space. T says that ec is not a high achieving student, but gets astounding scores on his tests and such. Our tests are taken online. T was wondering why this kid was doing so well, when he gave no effort to class. T has a fucking master's in technology from college. She just whooped out her computer and found out the test was being logged onto and taken at an IP address that is not on school property. Ep is taking the test for ec. So my teacher tried to stop him by making him take the test with another teacher without his phone near him. Ec texts his mom the code to the online test. Ec just sits there, waiting for the time to be up, leaves the classroom with the test still open. My teacher is frantically trying to get him back to the classroom. What happens next? Ep comes to pick him up from school, the test still open. Does Ec need mommy to help him in high school? What about college when mommy can't help? Summary, Ec has his mother do his test for him, but mommy isn't smart enough to use a VPN and is caught but never punished. Thank you. Next. Hello. I'm new to the subreddit and love reading the stories and figured I'd share one of my own about a Karen. OP, me Karen, K. When I was about 18 I was working for X Home Improvement. I won't be giving out their name because I don't want it to backfire on me. I had been a cashier there for about a year and was top dog in terms of extended protection plans and MDA donations. MDA, Muscular Dystrophy Association. This isn't all that important to the story but feeds into why I still hold a grudge against the store for it. I had been homeless for most of the time I maintained this job. I was 19 at the time, but I finally had gotten a home because my grandparents moved close to my work and offered to let me stay with them to save up money, and I took up that offer. I had gone to work on a day like just about any other, and was my normal goofy self. I would sing along with songs that played overhead, jokingly dance, and goof around with my co-workers. I see a lady coming toward the registers, so I flag her down to let her know I'm open, and she enters my lane. This is a Karen BTW. Not knowing she was a Karen, I decided to try and joke around a little bit. I was standing there holding my scan gun in a James Bond pose, pretending to sweep the area with it, not actually pressing the button but just like a spy would when clearing a room, and then I hear it. "K, excuse me. Why the F are you pointing that thing at me?" Me, "I'm sorry, K, why are you threatening me with that gun?" Me, "Mom, I am not intending anything as a threat. I apologize if you mistook my actions, but I was just goofing around with some of my coworkers while I was waiting for you to pull up to my register." K, "Well, don't ever do that again." I apologized to her and went about scanning her items, just a few odds and ends and a rug. I carried on with my day as she seemed fine. She walked out the door with a huge smile on her face and I thought I had done a good job. I get a call from my manager telling me to report to the HR office immediately. I'm a little concerned, asking myself if it could be about the lady. I didn't know what was going on, but I maintained a positive attitude. My dad always says think positive and positive things will come your way. I get there and the door's cracked open. I push it lightly and see the store manager, SM, and the assistant manager, AM, as well as the HR lady sitting there. SM, "OP, please have a seat." AM, "Would you please read him the complaint?" AM just kind of glares at me before reading the paper he had in his hand. "Well, we had a lady call up here about 20 minutes ago absolutely bawling her eyes out saying you threatened her life. She said you pointed your scanner at her like a gun. They're literally shaped like guns. She stated when you were asked to stop that you glared at her and threatened her life, calling her a needy and saying that you were going to track her down after you got off of work." I was in utter shock. My heart sank to my stomach and tears began to well up in my eyes. I could not believe somebody would lie to someone about me like this. They made me seem like I belong in some hillbilly horror movie. I knew what was coming, and I tried to reason with them, but I couldn't convince them to be on my side. They are hard believers in the Karen mantra, the customer is always right. SM, OP, I understand that you're upset right now, but you cannot say these things to a customer. Now I'm sorry, but we are going to have to let you go. Leave your name tag and your vest here with us. You have 10 minutes to collect your things. After you leave here today you are banned from the premises for 15 months. I ripped my name tag and vest off and just threw it on the ground, trying to get out of there before they started. I walked down to the nearest grocery store parking lot and sat on a natural hill there for hours, crying because I had been so harshly blindsided. I wouldn't even get to tell my side of the story. They fired me on a Class A violation, which means I am not hireable by any ex-improvement store in the country. I wound up getting a job at Walmart, which was also ended because of an entitled Karen. I'll post it later if you guys want. They didn't even review the footage because I know if they had they wouldn't have fired me. Sadly, there isn't a satisfying end to this one. It's just a tale of getting screwed over by Karen. I hope you all enjoyed the read. Thank you. Next. I wasn't the one witnessing this, sadly. My mom was. My brother, 14, goes to an elementary school in our neighborhood. It's pretty much of a terrible place. My brother isn't any smarter than the average, but compared to almost all of the kids there, he is a genius. And with dumb kids come dumb parents. They had one of these parents meetings, when they talk about class trips and the kids' grades, for example. I don't know what they're called. One of the parents, a very loud, confident and entitled one, mom of a hard-working and nice but not smart girl, started complaining about a movie the class watched in history class. They watched such a terrible movie. Someone raped a little girl in it. And the movie has such a weird title. It's a word that doesn't exist. I can't even pronounce it. It's something like ajskfjjd. Everyone else was like WTF. So they made her text her daughter and ask her what the title of the movie was. Guess what it was? The Suffragette. Didn't know what suffragette meant. My mom tried her best not to laugh. I think she succeeded, but the whole family laughed to the point of tears when she told us this story. So I guess it was worth sharing here too. I've never seen the movie, but my brother said no one raped a young girl in it. Edit. We're not American. I thought elementary school was the word for classes 1-8. Apparently it's not. LOL. My brother is in 8th grade. Thank you. Next. This took place about 2 weeks ago and I feel that this is the right place for it. AC. Awesome cousin. EM. Entitled mum. EK. Entitled kid. Now to the story. My cousin is like the sister I never had. She's the most incredible person I've ever had the joy of knowing. We were spending the day together, going around to all different places, shopping, eating, etc. One of her skills is being able to roller skate, which she often does instead of walking. We were going through a park when we stopped for a break and a snack. We see the sun starting to go down. AC checks her watch. I mention this for later. And we knew we had about an hour and a half until we had to be back home. We got up, she started skating away, when all of a sudden, a boy walking next to her suddenly decided to throw himself in front of her. The EK started bawling his eyes out as EM came running to him, shoving us both aside. What did you do to him? Right single quotation mark. He ran right in front of me. Right single quotation mark. I've learnt that AC is prone to panic attacks. So I hold her hand firmly. EK stands up, perfectly unharmed. EM looks at us. We ask if there's anything else. She proceeds to demand something from us as compensation. The EK cheers her on. AC takes off her hoodie, a sign she's not feeling so good. Under her long sleeve top, EK spots her watch. He points and yells that he wants it. AC pulls her sleeve down, but EM attempts to grab her arm to wrangle it from her. AC has told me before that it's worth around £80, so there's no way she was having it. All the while EK is complaining about wanting it. What happened next was over so quick it's hard to recall. A man sitting nearby strode towards EM and EK. They see him and absolutely bricked it. Me and AC ran/skated from there. Just got outside the park gates when AC fully broke down on me. This is what happens when people think they're better than others. This is my first time writing on Reddit. Thanks for reading. Thank you. Next. First Reddit post, and on mobile. Forgive me if I format this wrong. Might not be an exact fit for this sub, but thought you might enjoy. This happened while I was in university in Toronto, about 12 years ago. I was living in a co-op house with a few other students, the kind of place that is designed for students from different schools, maintained by a central organization, not a private house. I had been there for 2 years by this time, continuously through the summers and school year. This is important to note, as the story occurs at the beginning of the school year, at move-in time for new students. Over the summers, our houses would have high turnover as some students moved back home, and we often rented to the Irish, sorry, not PC, but meant with love, who would come en masse for the summers for part of their gap year. They were great fun, great to party with. But that's beside the point. The Irish have now moved out, and we are awaiting the new students to move in before our various schools picked up. I had a part-time job a few blocks away, and first noticed anything amiss as I walked home after a shift, mid-afternoon. Toronto has, or had, at least then, bedbugs were beginning to change this process before I left the city, a system of leaving I don't want it's on the curb for other people to help themselves too. I noticed a pile of stuff on the curb outside my house, and part of the pile was a wooden crate I recognized as mine. And my pair of cowboy boots? What? I looked through the pile, retrieved my crate, boots and another pair of runners, along with a few kitchen implements I recognized, and headed into my house, starting to panic. Also worth noting, I am a large woman with very large feet, so it's not easy to find nice, especially feminine shoes in my size. On getting upstairs to my room, I see the end of the hall where the crate is usually placed, on its side to act as a rustic shoe stand, is empty. Nothing there. About 10 pairs of regular used shoes, gone. My new roommate across the hall from me has moved in, and she and her mom are talking with the door open. Needless to say, I didn't make a good first impression. But then, neither did they. I asked them what happened to my stuff. Don't remember our exact words. I do remember being absolutely livid and confused. Both the new housemates and her mother denied even noticing the crate or shoes, although the mother went noticeably quiet as I cried. Luckily, I had been wearing my most comfortable pair of runners, which would do me for a while for school and work. I couldn't afford to replace a whole collection of shoes. Life went on. I gave new roommate a serious cold shoulder and stink eye combo, but wasn't too shitty. I was sure it must have been them that threw my things out on the curb, but they denied it up and down. About a week after she moved in, she handed me an envelope, saying it was from her father. I specifically remember the note inside. Roommate told me your shoes got thrown out. I'm sorry that your shoes got thrown out. Here is $300 to help replace your shoes. Signed roommate's dad. Apparently my new roommate and her mother lit into the dad, who, while helping move roommates in, had assumed the house was empty after the summer. He had dumped a ton of stuff from the kitchen and common room onto the curb, including my shoes. The new roommate gave me some excuse about why was my stuff out in the hall anyway, and not in my room, but it had been like that for 2 years with no problem. Her dad never once clued into all the personal stuff left in the bathrooms, like toothbrushes and towels, stuff in the cupboards and fridges, coats on the coat tree by the door, etc. that might indicate the house was being lived in. He just assumed his darling was moving into an empty home and he proceeded to clear the way for her. Gotta love his sorry not sorry apology note. I took his $sign and bought myself some Blundstones, Birkenstocks. Both lasted years, and a few pairs of cheap kicks. Glad my cowboy boots survived, too. Another 15 minutes and I'm sure they would have been toast. The new housemate and I managed to get past the event. We were never close, as she was just a bit too posh for my taste and I guess I was too lowbrow for her. But we lived another 2 years together without more than an occasional argument about chores. Still friends on FB. Should I have made more of a fuss about it? Maybe, but in the end I had to live next to this girl. What would you do?